Yeah.
So we're all go. We're all go, dude.
Okay.
Welcome.
Good to be here.
How are you doing?
Okay.
Yeah.
I suppose we have to rehash the greetings that we had before, but
Yes, sir.
I've been Saturday working on an assignment.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk more about that if you really want to, but I think you've got some things on the agenda.
Yes, sir. Talking to the microphone again, dude.
Speaking,
Whispering.
into the microphone.
Okay, cool. I think I gotcha. Sweet. So, well, yeah, as I said, I had Shara on my podcast last week.
The mighty Shara.
The mighty Shara. And we started off with a bit of an introduction from me, about her, right?
Oh, okay.
I thought, I mean, I'm kind of stealing someone else's idea because I heard someone do this on their podcast. So, bit of introduction about you, D. That's okay.
Oh, it's me. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, Denholm Orr, aka D, aka Sir D, sir, is a master's aerospace engineering student. If studying rocket science didn't impress you enough, this is my guy D's second master's. The first one being master's in jazz performance in 2018. After completing his master's, he continued his musical endeavor by joining New Zealand Navy Band. After his 3 years in the Navy, he decided to quit and pursue a different career path. He went back to the university to pursue a master's in aerospace engineering. To me, Denholm is the most curious person I know. I've known D for over 10 years and even lived with him for a couple of those years. And I would, most often catch him watching some science education videos on YouTube when I was living with him. Notice how I didn't say always, because I've been woken up by D cracking up at some Simpsons clips too. Apart from pursuing his passions for rockets, he had also recently attended an entrepreneurship program during the summer. After the program, he told me he had an idea for an app. That has been a couple of weeks now already, and I'm looking forward to any progress on that side of things too. We've had many nights talking shit about music or science or some other shit. And it's great to have D as one of my guests to continue our shit talk. So, ladies and gentlemen, former jazz musician, a future aerospace engineer, a Pokemon master, and a Simpsons expert, Mr. Denholm Orr. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're here.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty good when I hear it spoken.
Yeah. So is that pretty representative of everything that you've done so far?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah.
I guess it wouldn't add too much more, yeah.
Yeah. True. So you said you've been working on the assignment today.
That's right. So I'm into the last semester of my aerospace engineering masters. The assignment in question is for a paper called Energy Technology.
Energy technology.
Yeah, mechanical engineering paper.
Okay.
Mostly sort of hovering around thermodynamics. And its applications in engineering. So this particular assignment is about modeling how cheese cools down.
How cheese cools down?
That's right, cheddar cheese.
Cheddar cheese?
Yep.
So not any cheese.
Specifically cheddar cheese, would you believe?
How is that related to rockets?
Good question. Well, I mean, I suppose the connection is heat flows.
Okay.
Yeah, flow of energy through an object. So I guess with rockets and their propulsion systems, there's heat and there's mass flowing around as well. So mass flow comes later on in the course.
Yeah.
At the moment, we're just doing heat. Yeah, and of course, this is essentially my first foray into the area of propulsion broadly for applying it to rocket science. So, what little I can say about it might leave you wanting.
True. So, cheers to rockets.
Cheers to rockets.
How are you? So you've been in university before, right?
Indeed.
Yeah. How are you finding like doing the assignments and stuff? Like, now that you are like, you've had assignments before, and for a while you didn't have any assignments. Getting back to having assignments again, is that a bit of a nuisance or?
So comparing my first time round, I'm doing air quotes.
Yeah.
First time round of doing university, undergrad science, undergrad music, postgrad music.
Yeah.
The first time.
Yeah.
And then been working.
And not kind of having to do that.
Sure.
Yeah, and because I know it's like, at least when I was at uni, it's kind of added stress because it's kind of always there kind of thing. Whereas 9 to 5, like, I don't know, I try to forget about it after 5, and I can kind of afford to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, I suppose there is a stark difference between working a salary job, if you like, or even a wage job, and being a student. Again, so yeah, you as well know what it's like to be a student, and you now have known for a number of years what it's like to be an employee. And yeah, I'd say probably most people don't switch back to that. And this is a comment that I've gotten many times: is, I don't know how you can do it.
Yeah.
Not sort of on a task-based thing, but on a maybe like a sort of a tolerance level thing. People lose their tolerance for maybe putting in effort outside of work hours. Maybe that's it. You get a lifestyle. I mean, I suppose the nature of my work in the Navy band wasn't limited to 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 in this case.
Yeah.
You're doing performances. Sometimes those performances are in the evening, so you are doing things outside of work hours.
Yeah.
Again, air quotes. And the same story, weekends sometimes. Well, as any musician would say, you have to work in the weekends.
Yeah.
Maybe that kind of helps a little bit, but it certainly is different. Going back into university again and getting used to the idea of all hours being work hours.
Yeah.
I have tried to. So my partner, just a little bit of context, my partner is working.
Damn.
9 to 5, or well, she's an accountant, so 9 to 9. Where if she can't help it. But so there are work hours, and it's during the work week. So I have tried to keep my university work compacted, at least for this semester.
Yeah.
Between the hours of 9 to 5 on weekdays, which is pretty difficult, if not impossible. But that's at least the intention.
True. Yeah. Speaking of which, so your partner, can I drop the F bomb?
The F bomb.
The fiance.
Oh yeah, that's
okay. It's probably picked up by the microphone.
Yeah.
But your fiance.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I want to have her on my podcast. Can I name drop her, or is that?
I think just first name is fine.
First name is fine. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So Jenny, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Of course. Yeah. What do you mean, Jenny?
There isn't any other one, right? But yeah. So how's she doing?
Oh yeah, she's going good. It's so we're recording this podcast on the 24th of March.
Yes, sir.
2023.
Yes, sir. 11 past 5 p.m.
Yeah, that's right. And the financial year in New
Yes.
Zealand, for those people not in New Zealand.
Oh yeah, I would have global listeners for sure.
Right, so the financial year in New Zealand finishes on the 31st of March, and then starts in April. So all the financial services people, accountants included, my fiance Jenny included, are relatively busy
Yes.
at this time of year.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I suppose that kind of sums up how she is at the moment.
So she'd be at work right now or what?
I believe she is still at work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Damn.
Yes, she was debating sort of what to spend her time doing for the next 3 hours before we head off to our social event.
So she's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for the listeners, we're going to an event after this, but I didn't get her any tickets. I mean, it's easy as to get, yeah.
Registration no longer required.
Oh, is that right?
That's right. Yeah. I mean, not that the people listening to this podcast need to know that at all. Totally irrelevant.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's some drinks, dude.
Ah.
Yeah. So if you would like some,
crack in.
Yeah.
Somersby.
Alcoholic.
We might
be sponsored.
Looking for endorsements, so
please. If anyone's watching from Somersby.
Yep. Somersby,
please.
cider, sparkling cider, 4.5% alcohol.
I mean, I genuinely enjoy this alcohol. It's like actually Kelly put me up to this.
Okay.
Yeah. She's like I mean another name drop, but Kelly and Run
put
put me up to this. Yeah.
Now Kelly was asked, but there were some concerns about privacy, I think, for this podcast.
Yeah. So we'll keep it at the first name basis.
Yep.
This should be probably safe, right?
Yeah.
People
who know you personally. Will probably know that.
Yeah.
Kelly.
If you know, you know. If you don't, you probably don't.
Yeah.
Cool. So, whoa, yeah, glad to have you here, D. I think a lot of actually like cheers. Well, here's a bit of podcast lore for you and the listeners.
Excellent.
Actually, the idea for this podcast kind of came because, as you know, like I've been kind of trying different things, like
Yes, you have.
Yeah, starting a website, quitting that, starting a YouTube channel, and kind of still doing that, and then just here and there and stuff. Yeah, so with my YouTube channel, I was doing like a YouTube coding thing. Did I tell you about that?
You might have mentioned it,
Yeah. So I was doing like what's called ASMR programming.
Hey,
did I tell you about that?
You have mentioned that.
Yeah. So I was doing programming, and that's how I learned HTML and CSS and JavaScript and all that. I mean, yeah, that's kind of like why I learned it and how I learned it kind of thing. And well, like it was fun, right? But I kind of like I said in the last podcast too, I was like kind of like once I was like I finished the video, edited it, and I was about to publish it, and I remember thinking this is not really what I want to do kind of thing. So I heard this other thing. I mean, I keep getting sidetracked, but heard this other thing that like if you're pursuing something, think about, because ideally that goes well, right? In an ideal world, that goes well.
Sure.
And when that goes well, you tend to have to spend more time on it. Say like you start up a business side hustle and it becomes your full-time kind of thing. That's like kind of primary example of that. And they said like you have to be willing so that when that goes well and when you have to put all your hours into it, you should be happy. Whether you agree with that or not, but that really resonated with me, and I agree that with that up to some degree. And I remember thinking like I was about to publish, and I was kind of like I just feel quite like why am I doing this kind of thing? Like yeah, like I mean I've got like about 800 subscribers, dude.
Oh,
yeah, so it's not like a small channel. Yeah, it is a small channel in the grand scheme of things, but to me it's like a growing channel kind of thing.
That's a decent amount, especially so. This is sorry, just so I'm clear.
Yeah.
ASMR.
Yes, sir.
Program.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
which is
Which is it's a type of video where you have a screen, like the main screen of it is like the your basically what you see on your computer. So your like code basically.
sure.
And on the little like bottom right hand corner there's a you like little video of you typing, and then the main kind of the audio input, which is the ASMR part, is the typing noise, which often can be quite relaxing, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Right. And that's like the sort of the main extent of it is the typing noise and maybe like your breathing.
Yeah, I think not even breathing. It's mainly the typing noise is the
Okay.
ASMR part,
Interesting.
and it can be. I think it's good because it can also be like educational for some people.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because it's like no explaining. You just watch what people do, and then you learn how to do that from
I see.
watching that kind of thing.
Okay.
So a lot of people kind of do like they're what they learn at uni, like they're like I don't know, like computer science. They're doing a computer science degree or engineering degree,
Yeah.
and then what they learn, they just kind of like type it out, and that's their video kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. So how that relates to this podcast is like, so I saw that, and then well, I was doing that, right, and I saw other kind of like competitions on YouTube space, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's how you have to gauge, right? And then there was this one channel that was doing super well. So I was like, oh, it would be interesting to see like what they do, like because the thing with ASMR is like you don't know anything about the creators because you only see their hands kind of thing. So you can judge by their hands, but there's a detective shit, right?
Right.
So I was like, what do they do like 9 to 5? Are they programmers or are they hobbyists like me? And why do they do it? Are they doing it because they love it, or because are they looking for like monetization or something? So I had an idea, okay, like maybe since these guys are so unknown, some like people might be interested in them talking about themselves. So I conducted a couple of interviews with those people.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So and then that was super enjoyable. But they were from overseas and they were not like 100% comfortable with English.
Okay.
So because I asked them like, oh, can we do like an audio interview? And they said like, oh, like can we do just a text interview kind of thing?
Okay.
Yeah. So I did that, which was fun, but I was like, oh, I kind of want to try doing audio interview in person. So and I was kind of like, so that went on for months. Like I kind of had it in the back of my mind for months, and then we had I don't know a couple of like basically like dinner things where we just us two just having dinner and just talking and shit. And I was like, I mean I enjoy it, right? I'm there because I enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like there's no other reason. And I listening to the conversation myself, like I was like, there will be a lot of other people that will find our conversation interesting. I mean, I could be very well biased, right? Because I enjoy it, so maybe other people will enjoy it too. But it's an interesting conversation, and so that's why I was like, okay, I want to do a podcast. I remember saying to you at one point too, I want to do a podcast, but I don't know what and I don't know when. And I thought, and then came those interviews with those ASMR people, and then I was like, okay, like I really like it, and I actually tried with my mom. Can I do an interview? Yeah, yeah. And then so I tried it with my mom, and that went really well. And then I was like, okay, like let me try it. So yeah, and now I'm like trying to fully get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of the background of this podcast. Yeah. So big ups to you, D, because you definitely gave me I mean, subconsciously, right? Like you gave me the idea of it.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Because
Okay.
yeah, because I think before that, like I didn't really have anyone that I can kind of one on one just chill out, few hours just talking. You know what I mean?
Okay, right. I'm sorry. I just had something click in my head. The conversations that you were referring to
Yeah.
was between us.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
I'm with you now.
So even before this year, like you know, like I said in my introduction, like we lived together for a couple of years, right?
Yes.
And you know, some nights we'll just stand in front of that window,
That's right.
and then we'll just like chat shit, you know, like you know, there wasn't like anything particular to talk about, but we just talk about this and talk about that, and I mean, like I loved it, I enjoyed it, you know what I mean? And then I don't know, like yeah. I mean, I enjoy it. So I think like that's a big thing. Yeah, and maybe for you too, D. Like what do you reckon? Like, do you tend to do that? Like you kind of follow what you enjoy, kind of thing.
Well, I mean, there's lots of points that you brought up, which get things to sort of respond to.
Yeah.
So sorry, what was your primary question just then? Just to get my mind again.
Before this.
Just now.
Oh, just now. Yeah, like I guess like with your music, for example, like you know, some might say like that's not the most profitable or most you know, yeah, career driven you know choice if you yeah so but I mean you pursue that and then you became a full-time musician, but obviously when until you became a full-time musician it's a very uncertain path in some sense. Maybe you have something to say to that too, but regardless, do you kind of feel like you follow what you enjoy?
Well, certainly in the past, I have given advice to younger people than I. And this is, I gave this advice when I was 18 to students who were just starting high school, so 13. Pardon me. And I probably would have given the same advice while at uni to people who were still in high school. And this piece of advice is that do what you like. Now, I mean, maybe now there's a star attached to that. Maybe.
What's the star?
The star. We'll get to the star.
Okay.
We'll get to the star.
Well, we have to remember to come back to it. You know what I mean? Like.
This is sort of an active area of thought for myself.
Okay.
Yeah. So I gave the advice: do what you like. So in the example of say a high school student wanting to know what classes they should do. Now, maybe conventional wisdom or sage advice from teachers or relatives or whoever it may be to said student in said situation might be giving the advice of, oh, well, you need to do something that's going to get you employed eventually. So things like you need to know math, maybe it's that, or maybe you should do economics because that's to do with business, and that's business's jobs and jobs money. Or you need to do science because you need to be intelligent. You need to know about the world around you. You should do English because you need to know how to communicate in this world. Very rarely does anyone say you should do drama because you need to know how to act. I don't know. You need to know how to lie. But what practical purposes are there for say drama?
And that's legit, right? That's as in like say someone had like no interest in anything or like equal interest over all things.
Sure.
You would say, oh, in that case, you should do engineering, for example, because it's more likely to get more stable job compared to drama.
Well, yeah, I mean, the advice that people give is based on what they think is the priority. So most people would say, oh, well, you need to be employed when you leave school, otherwise you're going to run out of options for things that you want to do. So employability being the same, it's engineering. The big three: engineering, law, and medicine. Like these are the sort of the traditional ones. And things I say drama because in year 13 in high school, I took drama. I'll add music to the list because again I took music in 13 in high school. And like if someone maybe someone, this hypothetical someone, was maybe looking at my timetable and seeing music and drama along with physics, chemistry, and mathematics, calculus, that there's, I mean, even I will look at that now and say, okay, that looks like there's 3 things that are job oriented and 2 things that are maybe not.
Yeah.
But the thing is, of course, people do get employed in all those areas.
Yes. That's true.
And more.
Yeah.
And I do believe that people are, if you are driven enough and focused enough, you will be able to find something.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure, for example, so I did music. If I worked as a musician, if I did not study music in high school, it is more likely that music as a career wouldn't have been a thing for me. And so it's, where am I going with this? The do what you like thing applies in that way. Is that if you don't actually learn and improve in the things that you actually enjoy, then it is just less likely that you're going to be able to use those things in the future for, I guess, employment.
That's true.
Or your day-to-day activities. Yes, so that has been advice that I have given to people: do what you like. And I think it's still like pretty well justified. Yeah, there is no point, and I've seen this plenty of times as well, more so in uni than in school. I guess in school, it's an environment where up until age 16 or so, people have to be there. Kids have to be there. Yeah. And so there's always whinging about having to do one subject or another, particularly like English. And yet I had to do it in year 12. So okay, I'll suck it up. That's just something I had to get by. Yeah. But I've seen it a lot in university where friends of mine gave the impression that they weren't really studying something that they genuinely enjoyed.
Sorry, can I stop you there?
Yes.
Not for a very valid reason, but just because I have to pee really bad.
Okay.
But I have a question before you go on. But don't what's the phrase? But hold your thought there. Hold your thought. Hold your thought. Yeah.
Okay. So I've listened to Star Talk Radio.
Star Talk Radio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh yeah.
And, forget the name of
He's my next guest.
One. Yeah, and they talk for maybe about an hour. Yeah. I just always thought it seems pretty seamless, but every now and then people will have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Especially me.
After going out for drinks.
Yeah. But even like last interview, right? Like with Shara. Yeah. Like that one I didn't drink beforehand, but I got us some iced tea. And I had to go to the bathroom. Okay. And then looking back, because I was editing the podcast, and it's not surprising because I was sipping way more than Shara. Looking at it in the fast forward, right? Like you can see me keep going like that, where it's like 5-to-1 ratio or something, But it be what it is, it's part of the experience, Yeah.
We're talking a lot, use a bit of moisture.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Water anyway.
Gotta release that. But you were saying so you were saying you notice a lot of people at uni studying something that they might not necessarily enjoy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So
I said a lot. I mean, it's not vast screeds of people. Yeah. But there's a notable number that I encountered, at least in my time at university the first time around, that were the kind of not as attached to their area of study as what maybe I thought they would be. Yeah. I think with that, because it's a relatively negative thing, I'll try and avoid saying name, but I encountered one person who finished their surveying degree. Surveying degree.
It's like engineering, right?
Yeah, I think broadly. Yeah. Yeah. And so they finished this degree, and they'd I'd asked them sort of about how it was like, and they said, "Oh, you know, I didn't particularly enjoy it that much, to be honest." And oh, okay. And I think it was a 3 year. It wasn't a 3 year. It was a 4 year degree. And yeah, they'd gotten a job and were starting. You know, I happened to be talking with them on their first week of the job.
As a surveyor?
As a surveyor, yeah. So surveying degree, surveyor of the job.
Yeah.
Title. And yeah, their first day back from their first day of work, I asked them, "Oh, how was it?" And they said, "Oh, I hated it so much." I was like, "Oh, okay." Conversation, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, the following the week progresses, and I asked them the same question. Was it better today? How was it? And they hated their jobs.
Right.
And surveying, I mean, so you're outdoors. In this case, they went out to one of the islands in the Auckland Harbour.
Okay.
Which I thought was quite novel. Sounded
Yeah.
fun. It was summer. It was good weather.
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't sound particularly bad to me.
Yeah.
But no, they hated it, and within I think a month.
Yeah.
Of that,
Yeah.
they quit. Went back to university to study dentistry.
Sure.
Now, it feels to me like this person wasn't following this advice that I've given. Do what you like.
Yeah.
They went through this entire surveying degree.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And didn't once, I guess, reflect.
Yeah.
With no self. I'm not sure what the state of mind is there.
Yeah.
Has someone end up in a situation like that? But and I could make the argument that this is they're clear that they don't like what they're doing.
Yeah.
They should be doing something that they like doing.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's dentistry. Or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So I think that's the advice now.
Yeah.
Unless you wanted to change tack, I mentioned a star.
Yeah. Yes. I want to get to the star. Yeah.
Yeah. Doing what you like.
Yeah.
This is the star. Doing what you like. And this is active thinking as well. I'm putting lots of conditions on what I'm about to say because it's still active thought.
It's good.
Doing what you like is not enough. I'm gonna start it off like that.
Okay, cool.
I think when I had previously given that advice and applied to myself as well, the idea that if you did what you like, things would just sort of work out.
Right.
It didn't require any sort of active intervention or journey crafting. I think now that it does require those things. It requires more than just enjoying the thing that you're doing.
Okay. What else then?
It's a good question. I don't know.
You don't know?
Is the short answer. I don't know. I suspect that there is I think there are more kind of soft skills that are involved with any activity that one applies themselves to. If they're wanting to do more of that thing, or pardon me, in my case, say as a musician, I can't just like playing music.
Yeah.
I have to be doing these other things in order to, I guess, make a career out of it.
Yeah.
And what those things will probably be activity specific.
Yeah.
One of them, I think, that certainly applies to music, and I think applies to any profession actually, and to be honest, probably anything.
Yeah.
But that is networking.
Yeah. I remember you mentioning that.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is one thing that. So you asked about the difference between now and before regarding assignments.
Yeah.
To work outside of work hours. I have noticed other differences.
Okay.
Through coming back into study again, and I've been able to reflect.
Okay.
And think about what maybe things that I should do differently
Okay.
or could have done differently the first time. And one of those is networking. So making personal connections with other people doing similar things.
Yeah.
I think is a broad definition for that, networking.
Right.
I don't think that I networked enough.
Is that was that a conscious decision, or did you just not know about how important that was to your job?
I think I was ignorant.
Okay.
The first time through uni.
So you thought like the better person, better musician gets the job, rather than like.
I don't think I don't think I was thinking that there was some other mechanism by which a musician succeeds.
Yeah, true.
I mean, for the example you just gave, the better musician gets the job. Totally not true.
Not true.
100% not true. And I think I knew that. Well, I definitely knew that at the time. Like, it doesn't matter how good you are. It matters, and it matters who you're playing with. And I think I knew that then. Yeah. What I hadn't kind of, I guess, generalized it to was the networking, because this is essentially a manifestation of networking. Yeah. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought. It was something that I did not do during my first stint at uni. Yeah. Forming these personal connections with students, I guess, within my own cohort and above and below. But partly because I was doing the conduit degree with science. And so it meant that time was limited, so I'd often have to like race into the music building, do the class or whatever it was, the practice, whatever it was, and then go off and do work on an assignment or go to another class or whatever it might be. A lot of the socializing and therefore networking that people were doing was actually in the common room of that building. Yeah. The jazz performance building. And it was sort of on those foundations, I think, that people formed these relationships, which they still have. And there are a few people for sure that I still keep in contact with from my music days. But I think those relationships probably could be stronger. Yeah. If I'd been able, if I had, well, I was about to say be able, but I think if I had chosen to. Yeah. Let's say, spend more time there with them, building those relationships, and there would have been further relationships as well. Why this is relevant as a musician, just in case for the listeners that isn't.
That could be some,
And why networking is relevant for a musician is because if no one asks you to play, you don't have a job. You can of course be the one to create opportunities to play, find the gigs yourself, but you're going to have a much easier time if there are other people asking for you as well. If you're the only one making your gigs, then you are going to be working hard all the time. Well, working especially hard all the time. Yeah. If other people asking you to do their gigs, then some of that weight is off your shoulders. So networking very important as a musician, and with hindsight, it's so obvious, like it's laughably obvious. Yeah. How could I have not realized that? I generally consider myself pretty intelligent. Yeah. But like this skip, I guess what it was, I must have just brushed it off, or maybe I hadn't thought about it. But academic person, focus on being good and being technically skilled. But the reality doesn't care about what you think. Networking absolutely would have been very beneficial had I done it more when I was studying as a musician at university. And the same is true now in engineering. Except this time I am conscious of it. So I'm doing something that I like. I'm in engineering and STEM. I'm doing stuff that's to do with space. Great.
Which was your undergrad, right? Like physics.
Undergrad. Undergrad physics. Just for the listeners. Adding that to the bio. Having not been in STEM for a while and coming back in, from my perspective, coming back in, but from nearly anyone else's perspective, there's a new guy in STEM. If there was some Overwatch or whatever. It means I don't know anyone in the engineering department. I don't know anyone in the aerospace industry. So I need to build that network. I need to build that circle of people. Maybe it was this idea that I was actually coming in from the outside and that maybe aware of it. Perhaps starting music, I felt like I was already in, and so I didn't need to do the networking, but it's simply not true. Networking is always necessary. So I've been making an effort to speak to people and get different opinions and bits of advice. With the hope that at some point down the line it will help me in some way, and maybe I'll be able to help someone else down the line in some way by the same mechanism. I'm talking to me. I'm talking to me. They're talking to them. I'm talking to them, and they're talking to me. So you don't know where these things are going to, pay off. But I suppose every little bit helps.
What do you think about that? Like, do you think in an ideal world, it should be in a way such that, say there's a gig, but they need a bass player. In an ideal world, should the best bassist get the job? And in a similar manner, like in an aerospace engineering, right? I guess best musician or best engineer, it's very hard to define, but if we could level it somehow, if we have some sort of measure, if there's a vacant position for aerospace engineer, should the best engineer should get a job? Or do you think, do you have any frustration or anything like towards that concept of networking, or do you think of it as like, fair enough, just the nature of human is we're very social people, right? Like we tend to trust people that we know, kind of thing. And then like even listening to music, like I find myself enjoying music that I like more. I enjoy more when I know the music, kind of thing. I don't know if that's related at all, but it's we're very social human. We like something that's familiar to us, right? So for you as a musician, maybe it's different as a musician as an engineer, but do you find any frustration at all, or do you kind of take it as it is?
Right. Well, I suppose let's say I'm in two minds about it. For the sake of the discussion, I'm in two minds about it. The best. So if we could measure somehow the best musician or the best engineer, whatever it is, then there were probably someone. This is a hiring situation. There were probably someone on behalf of the hirers would say, yes, we should take the best for this role, okay, because they're going to be able to make the best product. produce the best song or bass line, whatever it is. However, so there's that. That's a no-brainer. If you want the best product, then you want the best person to make it. That's the one part of the mind. The other part of the mind, which I think is far closer to reality, is that people, well, yeah, you said it before, humans are social animals. And my experience with this, and I think it happened in uni. Groups, the combos, the jazz combos that were made in university, small groups of musicians who would perform together for assessment purposes, would be formed essentially randomly.
Yes.
There might have been some networking involved, and with the lecturers in order to get placed in the combo of your choice, maybe.
Yeah.
But at least from the outside and partially from the inside, they looked like they were pretty random. Okay. Groups, combos that were comprised of people who knew each other in some way or bonded well together tended to perform better.
Right.
Those that did not, did not. And I did actually experience this at the time. I remember sort of realizing that I would, and I remember why now. I would much rather be performing with someone who, well, broadly, I get on with than someone who is the best.
How come?
The reason for this epiphany was there was a group that I was in, again, randomly assigned, and actually I was very happy with the random assignment. Sure. This is a fantastic group of players. Awesome. The makeup of the group: a drummer, a pianist, a guitarist, at least one more player, and I think a vocalist. Okay. And myself, bass player. All these other musicians were very good, and I was extremely happy with the group, and the group did very well in assessment and performance. However, now I suppose again I'll try to be coy with the sort of identifying details. However, one of the musicians in the group was pretty unreliable with their time. They wouldn't show up to the rehearsals regularly. So we had rehearsals, I think, 2 times a week. Once with the staff member, once without. And they would pretty much never show up to them without the staff member. Okay. No accountability and to at least the staff, and maybe they didn't care what their fellow students thought.
So they didn't say anything. Like
there was pretty much nothing said. There would be excuses thrown around for not showing up, whatever it might be. And it's for anyone that's listening who's done group work.
There's always one.
And there's always one. There'll always be one that is not quite up to the standard of the next lowest one. There'll always be a spread, but in this case there really was one person who was just really dropping the ball. The problem was that this person was also a fantastic instrumentalist. Yeah, they were really good, so it was kind of hard to measure these two things. And maybe they were getting a bit of slack because they were so good. It's like, well, they can deal with it. Yeah, but it was pretty disheartening, I guess, for kind of the group dynamic.
Yeah, for sure. That's true. That's interesting.
And it was sort of through that experience that I was like, I would much rather, like, if we're balancing these two things, how good they are, how perfect they are, the best. Yeah. Right? If we can balance how good they are with how reliable they are, I would much rather have someone that is average but very reliable. Yeah. Okay, rather than have someone that's fantastic but pretty average with their, I guess, commitments, responsibilities. Yeah. And I think if I was to sort of quantify this in some way, if we sort of imagine a graph of the amount of the amount that it matters on the x-axis,
Yeah.
and how good they are
Yeah.
on the y-axis. Is that what I'm thinking about?
Or
Oh no, the other way around. How good they are on the x-axis,
Okay.
the bottom, and how much it matters
yeah.
to
Okay.
the sort of to the
Right.
output on the y-axis.
Yeah.
It is what's that logarithm?
Oh yeah. Like the natural log.
Yeah. So for anyone that's listening that isn't immediately familiar with natural log, at least what we think natural log is, uh, how good they are in small amounts matters quite a lot. But as they get really, really good, it doesn't actually matter those improvements between let's say 10,000 hours of practice and 12,000 hours of practice. The difference is not nearly as significant as 0 hour of practice versus
10,000.
2,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, in the context of a university jazz course where people are generally pretty competent already, I would much rather have reliable, someone who is displaying and actioning all of these soft skills really well than someone who is actually technically competent because of all the other things. And I've ranted on a lot about this sort of thing.
Good stuff.
And actually forgot why we're speaking about it.
Yeah, same. That's how much I've been enjoying this. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's kind of importance of networking kind of thing, right?
Yeah. You asked about hiring the best versus what I was talking about how there's the best and that makes sense, but then in reality, people I said people want to get on with who they're working with, and that example for me, getting on with was someone who was reliable, who had the soft skills, and they were ideally that they were showing those rather than having the skills.
Yeah.
And so how this applies to work life, in my experience now, is that what people want isn't necessarily the best.
Yeah.
And maybe it depends on the situation. So many different ideas coming in. There's another course that I'm taking.
Okay.
This year I mentioned the energy technology one.
Yes.
The other one is agile and lean project management. Okay. Now, if you want to get into that, you can. But
what's the first word again?
Agile.
Agile. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Agile and lean.
Yes.
Project management.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's very like soft skill based course.
Yeah.
Or
it's written. It's not a technical course.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that part of engineering?
It is a general engineering course.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
But why it's written right now is because the lecturer gives the impression that they've actually spent their working career in industry.
Okay.
And then have come back into lecturing with a sort of a wealth of very practical kind of knowledge. And one of the quotes that this lecturer said, in fact, I could probably, I'll leave him anonymous for now.
Yeah.
But the quote was that New Zealand, in particular, New Zealand's job market is very I can't remember the exact words, so I'm paraphrasing, but very, let's say, networking based. Okay. Or based on personal relationships. So the difference between if you're applying for a job, submitting a CV via some kind of online portal, and walking in the front door and introducing yourself, is quite different. Given what this lecturer said about New Zealand's job market, is that you could expect better outcomes from walking in the front door and asking for an interview, introducing yourself, than you might elsewhere. And this is the importance of networking, is actually showing face and I guess massaging people with your words rather than your skills, with your personality rather than your skills. So this ties back in with the networking thing. This ties back in with people want to work with who they're going to get on with, rather than necessarily who's the best. If you can have someone who's the best, and a fantastic person to work with, a team player, or whatever, then fantastic. Maybe those two things don't often come hand in hand.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is why maybe everyone can find a job.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's because there are different skills that different people are looking for.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Funny you mentioned that, because I've been reading have you heard of the book Outlier by Malcolm Gladwell?
I have not, but I have heard it now.
Yeah. So it's a good book. I think you will enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's called Outlier by Malcolm Gladwell. So you know that thing about mastering something, and you have to put in 10,000 hours to master something, right?
Sure.
So that's the origin of that is that book, Outlier. And in that book it says it looked into there was this study of this guy who came up with the IQ test to measure people's IQ.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, this is like a comprehensive test to measure someone's intelligence, basically. And that what that person believed in that test so much, up to an extent, so that what that person did was they measured like a lot of people's IQ, when they were like young, and then they picked top of the top people, and they tracked their life, and that person, he thought like everyone's gonna turn out to be like world leaders, like Nobel prize winners, presidents and CEOs and something. Okay. And it turns out most of them turned out to be just kind of what you might call like an average 9 to 5, whatever. Sure. Right. Yeah. So
distribution of someone more successful, someone less.
Exactly. So there was no any like distinguished, like there was no p-value not high, like not low enough kind of thing. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. So so it turns out what happens is apparently there are like four or five thresholds in IQ. Like, say like, I don't know, like I'm just making up numbers here, 50, 75, 100, 120, whatever. Okay. And those thresholds are important in the sense that within those thresholds, depending on where you belong in those thresholds, your lives are going to be quite different. Okay. But once you belong in one of those thresholds, it's not going to make too much difference if your IQ is 150 or if your IQ is like, I don't know, 190 or something. Okay. Your lives are going to be pretty similar. Wow. So the kind of easier way to put it is once you're over IQ of 120 or something, again, just making up number here, 120, 150, you are smart enough for most of jobs available kind of thing. Okay. Yeah. And then from then on, what matters is, I forget what they called it, but I think it's a soft skill IQ or something. I'm completely making up numbers here. But from then on, what matters is, say someone has a IQ of 120, someone has an IQ of 180. Sure. You can see them as, okay, they're equally as intelligent. Obviously, there's a little bit of difference according to that IQ, but you can basically say they're the same. From then on, what matters is, like soft skills, right? So there was this study, it's kind of topical now because there's that movie coming out, but that guy, Oppenheimer. Okay. Yeah, he worked on like nuclear weapon or something, right? So he's a very, you can kind of support that or not, but he's a, either way, he's a very successful scientist. But his IQ is lower than, I forget his name, but this other, I think that goes to show, that kind of proves the point. This other guy who had the really high IQ in America, so right. He actually won like so he's kind of known, he's like the face of like genius, whatever. Okay. If you like it, just because he has really high IQ and he's really smart too. Okay. And then the anecdotes of his brothers when he was younger, like it's pretty incredible. Like he said, like they say, like he only needed to study like 10 minutes for this test, whatever, when they study like weeks, whatever. Sure. Just like typical stories you would hear. Yeah. But according to the book, what differentiated them. Although Oppenheimer had like lower IQ, he had his ways with words. So in other words, his soft skills were better.
Sure.
So yeah, it's I mean, like listening to you, it kind of applies. Like, musician, right? Maybe less related to IQ, but once you're good enough, you're good enough kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This what we're talking about. Exactly.
Yeah.
The same thing.
Yeah.
Good to know that it's sort of validated something else.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, you love this book. So and then up to date comes down to who do you know?
Right.
Who do you know? And are you at the right place, right time kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, going back to the music example, so a quote that I've heard, and I don't know where it's from, unfortunately, but it is, to be a good musician, you don't have to be good at music.
Yeah.
You have to be good at marketing.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's, I mean, you could probably pick any example that is the case of that. I mean, this is my biases coming in, but I'll say it anyway.
You can say anything in this podcast, dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of criticism from, I guess, more studied musicians that popular music today,
right,
or probably music at any time, is not as intricate as it should be. It doesn't have as much musical value as what it should. And to a degree, I agree with that. My opinion has been changing actually now that I've not been doing music.
Okay. How so? How did it change?
Well, I'm finding more value in pop music than I did before.
Interesting.
But that's not different.
I feel like that's another podcast. Yeah.
That's a different topic, maybe a different podcast. Who knows?
Yeah.
But so this idea that popular music is, for example, say just 4 chords, and maybe now not even 4 chords. Get a trap drum beat.
Yeah.
And
is it 0 chords?
Yeah, like some of them are. Like I've heard some have no chords, like just a bass.
Just the bass.
And then some dude rapping it or something like that.
Yeah.
And musically, like it doesn't take a high musical IQ to create something like that. And you could argue that there's lots of sort of effort put into, say, like just how the hi-hat sounds or how the snare sounds or the rhythms that the vocalist is using to rap or to sing, whatever it might be. But the amount of detail that is in there, I would argue, is a lot more likely to be stumbled upon by accident than, say, something that is a bit more musically involved.
Sure.
If there are more elements and more ways that those elements are used, then it's just statistically you're more likely to stumble upon something that's simpler than is more difficult.
Yeah.
And yet it is the trap drums with the bass line and the guy rapping on it is far more popular than a complicated say jazz thing with hundreds of chords.
Why is that?
And I think, well, there will be many facets to this, but I think that at least one of these things is that it is quite possible that the jazz musician or the composer or whoever it is of this hypothetical jazz thing is not as good a marketer as whoever it is that is marketing this hypothetical popular, let's say, rap song.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's, to a degree, it's in the marketing. I mean, if we try to sort of remove as many variables as possible, if there are 2 people trying to market the same song, okay, there's going to be a difference. Say if there is a professional marketing person, maybe someone who studied marketing at tertiary level, whatever it might be, versus a primary school kid who's just going to their first I can't remember what they call it, careers fair or something like that. We had something at primary school where we had to like create a product and sell it, and I did very badly at it. Maybe that's quite telling. But yeah, like there's going to be a difference. It's exactly the same song. The product that is trying to be sold has exactly the same features. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that the two people trying to sell it have different skills. And so, yeah, like I suppose given that example, it should be pretty clear that the marketing is important. And what this quote that we mentioned before, good musicians are good at music, they're good at marketing, rings more true than the actual quality of the music itself. I think the marketing is actually more important than the music that's being produced. You mentioned your ASMR programming before, which to me sounds like a pretty niche thing. I don't particularly think I'd go out of my way to go consume that kind of product. And that's not saying anything to the quality of the product that you're making.
That's true.
It's just this is a personal preference, and I would be surprised that there would be a large number of people. But the point is that there are some people, some that will like this thing. And you just have to find them.
That's true.
And it's your ability to market that. So if I make this, I don't think anyone's going to value this, and I'm not going to spend time on it. But you've done it, and you've managed to find 800 subscribers. That's I think that's another sort of piece of evidence that would back up the marketing. The marketing idea.
Do you like that? Like, I don't know, because in some sense I kind of like learned to enjoy it a little bit, like, because there's a whole lot, like there's a whole thing of like marketing, right? At first, like, have you heard of like SEO, search engine optimization?
No, I don't think I have.
Yeah, so it's like a big on it's big on like bigger websites. So they write or like structure their website in a way such that if someone types up like, say like someone types car on Google, car is a very general topic, right? A lot of websites might come up. Search engine optimization is basically trying to get as high as possible in their relevant topics if someone searches that up on Google.
Right.
Yeah, so to me that's pretty interesting, and same with Google, same with YouTube, like, there's whole thing with thumbnail as well as like the title. Yeah, it's like a market, in a way it's like marketing, right? Yeah, someone search up ASMR programming, obviously a lot of results will come up, but I want my results to be up there so that more people click. And I kind of like learn to enjoy it. It's now that especially with the internet, a lot of things are what's the word for it? But a lot of things are, it's so hard to find a niche that you are just on it, so that when you search that topic up, it's just you coming up,
Right.
So I kind of learned to enjoy it a little bit. Like, what about you? Like, do you mind that? Like, do you
to enjoy what? Sorry?
To enjoy like basically like marketing yourself and standing out from the crowd,
Yeah.
You find it interesting at all?
Well, I suppose in the sense that it is a theory that can be studied.
Yeah.
I actually know pretty much nothing about this.
Sure.
Marketing theory. I assume it would be.
Yeah.
I would be interested in sort of reading about. I guess that there's probably elements of psychology and economics that come into it. I mentioned that this primary school event that we had to create a product and sell it.
Yeah.
As primary school students, and I said before, I did abysmally at this thing. I tried. They gave us like some fake currency. And you have X amount to spend on building a thing, and I had no idea what to do. I was like, I can't build anything of values, and I ended up making I ran a lottery.
Okay.
I ran a lottery. It's like, right, they've given us this. I'm just going to lotto it off. I didn't even know how a lottery worked, but I don't know. It was bad. It was bad. I did really bad. For someone that did relatively well at sort of things school.
Yeah.
Nah, I did really bad.
It
was marketing.
What year were you in?
Oh, we would have been in 5 or 6. So
Okay.
how was that? 10 years old.
Yeah, you were quite young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, you're expecting a kid's level, but
Yeah.
even at that age, I knew that I was definitely not performing to the level that I think they expected.
Yeah. How did that make you feel?
Oh man. I, I think at the time I felt like it was a waste of time
Okay.
because well, this isn't. It wasn't really something that I was interested in trying to sell
Fair
stuff.
enough. You're a kid.
Yeah, there were other things that I liked. It didn't particularly bother me. I guess I was annoyed that I wasn't good at this thing.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I sort of, I clearly still remember that
Yes.
that thing. Like I don't remember much from primary school.
Yeah.
But that's something that I do remember. So
Damn.
I think it sticks out. And, I guess I'm aware of it. I mentioned this agile and lean project management course. This is a business course that applies to business, which is connected with marketing and trying to sell things. You mentioned in my bio earlier that I did this innovation and entrepreneurship.
Yes, sir. We need to get into that
workshop. There's a very clear pattern for anyone that's been paying attention to the podcast as we've been talking. I have been spending more time recently trying to learn more about things, business and industry. And it is not my strong point.
Okay.
Find your weaknesses and improve upon them.
I admire that, but can I stop you there, D?
Yes.
And you might be surprised that I need to pee again.
You drink that much?
Oh, no.
I suppose you drink.
Yeah. I think I also have a very small bladder. So, if that's okay with you, I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. So D, is it fair? Is it fair to say, you're one of my best friends?
I think that's pretty fair. I mean, you're one of my best friends. Oh, so I mean, only you can answer that question.
Yes.
That's
true. Well, here's the thing. I try to surround myself with people that inspire me, right? And they can be in many different ways. And one of the ways that kind of I get inspired by you, D, is that I've noticed that like you're quite good at like I don't know I don't know if that's the exact expression that I'm looking for, but you're quite good at like admitting your faults, right? You might say faults, or you might say like something that you can improve on. And yeah, like you were saying earlier, like you noticed that you're not the best at marketing, or you saw some room for improvement on that aspect. And like I feel like and you are actively working on it now, or you have been. Yeah. Do you find that to be one of your strengths? Because I feel like, I mean, definitely with me, and I don't think it's just unique to me. Like, weakness with me, like even just acknowledging that it's my weakness, whether I know it or not, takes weeks, takes effort, takes months. I don't know. It might be, maybe not, but it seems easier for you to do that.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess I've not really thought about that before. Identifying weaknesses. I mean, let's say that's the case. Let's say that I am good and willing to identify my weaknesses. If that's the case, I don't think I'm that good at acting on those observations yet.
Right.
I say yet. But yeah, like so even with that, like I hadn't really thought about that before. I mean, I don't know. I like to think I sort of use humor as a to its full effect and Sure. Included as humor is self-deprecating.
Yeah.
So it sort of can come out that way.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Um,
I think there are different techniques of dealing with it, right? Like different techniques of kind of bringing that to surface. But so you said whether you kind of acknowledge it or not, like you say you're not like you haven't been very good at addressing that. Why do you think that is? Like, is that, I don't know, because you're lazy, or is it because like you're not too bothered by it? Maybe it's related. Maybe it's like you are easy to admit that because you are not too bothered by it, for example. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I do think personally, I do think I am easygoing, and in fact, I have heard this comment quite a lot.
Yeah.
Especially in the Navy.
Okay.
But for anyone that doesn't know, the Navy, the military is, it can be an intense environment.
Okay.
And quite often that's on purpose.
Yeah.
And I have received in the past many times from military personnel that in our sort of reviews that you get reviewed, of course you do, that apparently I was quite laid back.
In a good way, right?
Well,
or can it be a bad way, maybe?
I don't think.
Yeah.
That it was made as a comment.
Yes.
A comment. So there's not. I think with the way that they delivered that feedback is that it wasn't, on paper at least, it wasn't meant to be a value. There wasn't any value judgment. It was just an observation. Okay. You know, I took things in my stride. You know, nothing fazed me. These are direct quotes. Yeah. And this is true. In the military environment, that was right. I did that. I specifically tried to conduct myself that way because I know that they try, and maybe this is my bias speaking again, you know, a little bias warning. Yeah. I know that that they try to rock you up. Yeah. Like, especially in basic training, that's the whole point, to stress you out. Right. But I had, you know, there was we're so close to opening a can of worms. Oh my God.
I feel like my podcast will be cancelled after this or something like
it'll be requisitioned.
Bit of government pressure, you know.
Yeah, God. Yeah, so I think depending on, there were some people that would say too laid back. Yeah. Too laid back. Sure. Nothing phases me, and actually bad thing. They want sort of a reaction and response or something like that. I mean, I was in the mindset at the time that I didn't want to give. I mostly just didn't want to give people the satisfaction. Yeah, sure. Because it's almost as though a reaction is like a handle to grab onto. Yeah. For someone who wants to become an antagonist to you. Yeah. So, you know, I can be laid back. I can sort of be not fazed by things, and yeah, I mean, I suppose coming back on topic in terms of recognizing weaknesses. You know, I generally I think I enjoy the person that I am. So, you know, identifying a weakness doesn't make me feel bad about who I am. It's just like, okay, this is an observation. You know, I'm not good at marketing, let's say, or I would like to be better at marketing. Yeah. Perhaps my ability to maybe let's say my ability to capitalize on relationships isn't fantastic. I don't know. I feel like I can sort of talk with people pretty well. Yeah. But in terms of actually turning that into value for myself, maybe not the best. Right. There'll be other examples. So it's the I mentioned before, the identifying the weakness and acting on that information are two different things. I don't think I'm as good at acting on the observations. Yeah.
Have you seen someone that's like, oh fuck, this person is actually pretty good at that, and I want to be a bit more like that? Or is it just a general observation?
So have I ever seen someone who has a skill or an ability?
Yeah, or maybe heard an example, because like when you say you've noticed that you're not very good at it, in some ways it's relevant, right? It's like relative to how other people are, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure if I can come up with a.
Yeah, like a sort of concrete example. It's just a
Yeah.
general observation kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not quite sure. I guess I don't really spend much time looking at. And I don't know how I'm going to come off after saying this, but how people. I'm not sure if I notice how people act so much as what they have. Yeah. And I'm sorry. The blank look on your face means that you maybe don't understand what I said. So I'll try and rephrase it. If what people have is the result of their actions, I'm observing what they have rather than the actions that they did, the things that they did, or the skills that they have to achieve that thing or to get that thing. Yeah. So yeah. I guess yeah. Yeah. I don't. For example, let's say someone's got really good handwriting. And I say, wow, that's really good handwriting. You have really good handwriting.
Yes.
As opposed to, I wish I was as good as handwriting as handwriting as they are.
Yeah.
What did they do to get that good handwriting?
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, this is an active area of thought for me. In fact, very recently, I think. I've spoken to you in the past about my sort of reframing of I guess sort of a broader life, general kind of things.
I want to talk to you about that too.
Yeah. And in connection with that, I did a workshop very recently that kind of validated for us that the path that I'm kind of on, or the things that I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And it included actually. I can't remember it had an acronym, GMEFSO or something like that. And I believe the S was the one, the one that was relating to this. I can't remember what the S stands for, but S was for role model.
Okay. It's a silent S. Silent S in there.
Yeah, that's right. So role modeling, finding someone who is good at something that you want to be good at, or whatever it may be. And can you talk to someone? Can you talk to them? Can you ask them how to do it? And what can you learn from them? Yeah. Okay. And frame this in the kind of like your existing network. Is this? So let's. I know you play tennis. I've never seen you play tennis. But
I'm so good.
Yeah. So all your skills of tennis. Let's say tomorrow I decide actually I want to start doing tennis. I want to get really good at tennis. Who in my network do I know that plays tennis well? Pascal. I know Pascal plays tennis, and I know that he plays really well. Yeah. So I'm going to talk to Pascal and see, like how did he do it? What did he do? Can I play against him? Play with him? And then so there's in your network, and then there's who is the best in your city, country, the world. Oh wow. What can I learn from them? Can I contact them? And if not, or if so, whatever. What can I learn from them? Yeah. So I would look to say Roger Federer, right, or Andy Murray, or something like that. Yeah. To see what it is that they did, or what something that they are doing that I'm not. Yes. So this is again, this is sort of an active area of thinking. I haven't really in the past connected myself with role models. Yeah. Again, active thinking. I don't quite know why that is. Why haven't I wanted to have role models in the past? Because I know absolutely this has been recommended. Yeah. Through schooling. Yeah. They say have role models. Yeah. People who have already treaded the path. Yeah. Or treaded our path.
And also in jazz, it's big, isn't it? Like kind of listening to someone solo and transcribing and stuff. And in a way, that's kind of following a role model, right?
Yeah, I suppose it is. Yeah, transcription. And look, actually, to be honest, that's a really good analogy to draw because the same story. So, yep, like you said, transcribing a person's playing in jazz is like the original way to learn. According to sort of jazz convention. It's not going and learning about music theory. It's just straight up just copy your favorite player. Someone that you think sounds good, that you want to get something from them, you just copy what they do. Okay, and then eventually some of that actually rubs off into your own musical persona. As an exercise, we did have to do it in study. I think outside of uni, like I probably transcribed a few things, but like I haven't specifically transcribed a person.
Right.
And even in university, it was as an exercise, like, this is an assignment. I'll do it as the assignment. But I never really. One of the things that you're supposed to do after having transcribed the person, if you do a complete transcription, you are. The shortest route is you listen to what they do, you figure out how to do it on your instrument, and you play it. You play along with it. The slightly longer route, maybe arguably more comprehensive route, is to listen to what they play, get it onto your instrument, also get it onto a page and music notations, and rhythms, pitches, and some kind of structure around it.
That's tough.
Just a bit more time consuming. And maybe a bit more informative for analysis.
Yeah, definitely.
So pros and cons, and then to eventually be able to play it.
Yeah.
After having gone through that process, the idea is that you're supposed to be able to refer to this transcription that you've done, and to be able to take small elements from it that you can apply into other situations.
Yeah.
Okay. So. I just relearned about Bloom's taxonomy.
What's that?
Bloom's taxonomy.
Okay, what's that?
Like 6 different levels of learning.
Okay.
So I think the bottom level is just the ability to be able to recite knowledge.
Yeah.
I think it's called knowledge or whatever. And then your ability to clearly I haven't learned this, so I can't even cite it. But I know there are 6 levels. Knowledge is in there somewhere, applied in there somewhere, evaluate is in there somewhere. I think synergy is in there. 5 or 6. So there are these different levels of learning. So you have to apply what you've done. When I transcribed, we're talking about role models, just to connect it to why we're talking about this. I would finish these transcriptions, and I would never actively try and take something from that transcription and apply it. So I want to take this little nugget, whatever it might be, that I have identified as being uniquely this player, Ray Brown, for example, bass player.
Ray Brown,
yeah.
Okay. Ray Brown.
Yeah. So he does skill X or whatever it might be, and I want to take that. I want to be able to play that in any context that I'm playing. That's what you're supposed to do. Whether informally or formally, you're supposed to do that. And I don't think I ever did. It was just like, right, I do the transcription. If anything brushes off, I want it to be sort of organic, so I suppose informal, but like I'm not going to try and make that happen.
Yeah, sure.
If it comes out, it comes out.
Yeah.
I never really, I guess, actively tried to make the role model thing into my what should we call it? My model.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you learned about like kind of the acronym that you were talking about earlier. That did you learn that in the entrepreneurship course?
The GME episode, or the Bloom taxonomy thing?
It's the one with where S stands for role model.
Right. Yeah. That was in a workshop just the other day. That was called the growth mindset.
I saw that on your LinkedIn.
That's right. That's right.
Follow LinkedIn.
Follow me.
After this, you're gonna get so many followers.
Follow me on LinkedIn. Yes. Like my post.
Subscribe, comment.
Yes. So that workshop, was this workshop that kind of validated this whole goal-oriented thinking that I mentioned to you. And we have this thing here, so it kind of put the goal setting in a slightly wider framework, which included role models.
That's great.
Oh, that's the battery, isn't it?
No, it's a virus and threat protection.
Okay.
Yeah.
No viruses.
No viruses, as far as I know. Yeah.
And I think it included, well, actually, interestingly enough, so growth mindset, tying in with the agile course which we mentioned before, this idea of evaluation, feedback, sort of self-evaluation, reflection as well. There's just all this different thinking that I never really put value to in the past. It's only been quite recent. Again, active area of thought. Okay, next topic.
Maybe it's like, what made you, so the entrepreneurship course over the summer that you did, what made you kind of get into it, and did you kind of at the end of the course, did it kind of meet your expectation?
So the main chain of reasoning which made me enroll in that course, so Summer Lab, the Centre for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at the University of Auckland, they run this thing, Summer Lab, and my situation was, so you've mentioned before that I've been a musician, and I'm undergoing a career change and retraining or adding a bit more to my undergraduate training, postgrad engineering degree, and with that sort of comes concerns about, okay, well, how do I compare to other people in this industry? It's a massive different thing, so people might go straight from undergrad, or maybe they go out and work for a couple of years and come back in, and getting, mostly that seems to be the case with people that have actually finished their undergrad engineering degree, worked for a couple of years, and then come back in to do a master's. That seems to be the more common one in this program, this university. Anyone that's done undergrad engineering at Auckland University has got 800 or so hours baked into the degree of work experience. And then, additionally, whatever work they've done after that. And I as a musician did not have that. I had work experience in a different field, in defence, but not engineering. So I'm sort of comparing myself to, I guess, the labour market, and saying, okay, like where do I lack? How can I make up for those things? So I'm looking around for jobs, essentially. And New Zealand, my impression of the New Zealand labour market in aerospace is that it is growing. There's growing sort of business activity, but it is still small. It's growing great, but it's still small. So a lot of people, let's say, and not a lot of jobs, high demand, low supply. So difficult to find, to get that one job rocket lab that everyone's after.
And there are more options.
There are more options than rocket lab, of course. It depends how aerospace adjacent you want to be employed as an aerospace engineering major. So let's say it's challenging to find a job for anyone. In New Zealand. So okay, cool. So in New Zealand, right? Let's look overseas then. And that's not exactly the case, and I had people disagree with me on my impression. My impression being is that it was actually quite difficult as a New Zealander finding an aerospace specifically job overseas, because aerospace is quite often tied with defence, especially if we're talking about the space part, aerospace.
Mm.
Anything that's a rocket, there's also a missile,
Mm.
and that's controlled by various laws, whether they be national or international ones.
Mm.
So the US, for example, has an ITAR, an acronym that says "Don't touch our missiles," colloquially. And so, despite maybe what you might think about information sharing and trust between say, New Zealand and the US, or New Zealand and Australia, or New Zealand and the UK, you have to be a citizen of the country that you're being employed in if you want to work with missiles, with rockets. And that's something that I'm kind of interested in. It's a bit of a bummer, but again, identify the reality so that you make decisions based on it. So it's like, okay, maybe it's difficult to find something in New Zealand. It seems to be very difficult to find something overseas. So if you take those two as the situation, it's like, okay, what other options I have that still involve aerospace? And aerospace podcasts.
Yeah.
Hey, not a bad idea. Why not? Well, I mean, you say that.
Yeah.
Joking, but actually, that is a perfect example of my chain of reasoning, which is make your own job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aerospace.
An aerospace podcast is aerospace adjacent.
YouTube channel.
Yeah, YouTube channel, anything like that. Yeah. It's an entertainment job essentially about the topic of
busking.
Aerospace busking.
Aerospace busking.
Aerospace busking.
Yeah.
Aerospace cakes.
Aerospace cakes.
Yep.
Aerospace cookies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aerospace kitchen.
Kitchen. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just put aerospace in front of anything.
Yeah.
Like aerospace microphone.
Yeah.
just picking something randomly.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I'll buy that.
Yeah. So make your own job. Make your own job. Be employed by yourself. Start your own thing.
Yes.
And so it's like, okay, right. How do I do that? And the full knowledge, like I mentioned before, that I am not good at marketing. I failed at selling something when I was 10, and therefore I'm bad at it now. So, okay, I want to know more about this. I want to spend a bit of time learning about this thing. And so, I was like, right, what can I do? And I knew that the CIE, Centre for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at the University of Auckland, ran a few programs. So I just happened to sort of look at their website, or maybe it was an email, and it said something about Summer Lab. Yeah. Summer Lab, learn about innovation and entrepreneurship. Okay, right. It was actually a bit late for the deadline. And so I emailed someone and said, like, oh, so you know, and they said, oh, well, there's no response. And so I emailed 10 more people until I eventually found someone at the University of Auckland. Goddamn them. That would reply, but luckily I found the right person. I said, well, actually things are closed. However, because I can see that you've emailed so many people, that we'll make an exception.
I feel like you failed on the entrepreneurship part, by being a bit late.
Yeah.
But I feel like you succeeded in the innovation part by like emailing that many people, or maybe this part of the entrepreneurship too.
I think there is something to be said for that. I mean, that little interaction just there.
Yeah.
I guess showing the determination to participate in something, do something.
Also, it's about like talking to the right person.
Yeah.
Like you can make things happen. I mean, people can make things happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's right. I mean, in all likelihood, if I'd already met this person before, they probably said, "Oh, right, I remember you." Yeah, that's fine. It's just, that's there's a lesson in there somewhere.
Yes.
Maybe I need to find what it is.
Yeah.
There's a lesson in there somewhere.
Maybe just not be late to things.
That's a good lesson.
Yeah.
One that I should probably learn. Yes. So that was the chain of reasoning. It's like, right, job hard to find here, hard to find overseas, make a job. All right, learn about how to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
To start your own business. And so that's what this workshop was all about.
Yeah.
I was learning about startups, essentially. Startup incubator. So maybe the listeners have heard of Y Combinator.
Yeah.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, is it's in the US for sure. Is it in LA? I'm not quite sure. But yeah, a similar kind of idea. It's a startup incubator.
Yeah.
So the whole thing with the CAE is that they foster startups, and so there's a whole bunch of different startups that are coming out of that university program, and some of them that are even started at Summer Lab. I'll name drop one right now. So there was Energy Bank.
Energy Bank, okay.
Energy Bank, which the whole thing was like, right, like we need to get renewable energy more ubiquitous in New Zealand. And the problem with renewable energy is that pretty much all of it, if not, all of it is not on demand.
Okay. How come?
So, for example, a wind turbine.
Yeah.
Right? Generally considered as a renewable energy.
Yeah.
Is powered by the wind.
Yeah.
Wind is not something that you can turn on.
Yeah. Right.
You need to wait for the wind to happen so that then you can harvest.
Yeah.
Okay. Solar power. The sun's there, so that's great. But there's a thing called nighttime.
Yeah.
And you can predict nighttime. So fortunately, to that degree, solar power is predictable.
Yeah.
But there are also these things called clouds. Clouds are a lot less predictable.
Yeah.
So, and you can't turn the clouds on or off.
Yeah.
Very easily. So, again, another issue. There's let's say hydropower.
Yeah.
Cool, hydropower. Set up a dam in the river.
Right.
There's actually hydropower generally, well, in some ways considered to be renewable. It's like, the river's there and it just goes. But this whole renewability thing sometimes is also tied with sustainability. If you're putting in a big dam, you're changing the environment around said river.
Yeah.
So there's an argument for saying that hydropower isn't as renewable or as sustainable as its image might suggest.
Yeah.
But regardless, hydropower, water coming from rain depends on rainfall.
Right.
So Auckland, I think, where we are, had this problem a number of years ago where it didn't rain enough during the winter, and over the summer we had water restrictions. And so rainfall is necessary for hydropower. Yes, other renewable. So either you've got to find a renewable energy source that you can predict and isn't something that is going to disappear temporarily. Yeah. Or you find a way to store already harvested renewable energy. Now, for Summer Lab, that was done. This whole program was delivered in the context of the group has to work on an idea. The group that I worked in was working on renewable energy, and specifically a renewable energy that didn't have this problem of not being able to be switched on and off. Okay.
What's an example of that?
So the relatively well known in the energy circles as a renewable energy source that isn't going to have reliability issues. Tidal.
Okay. Sure.
Tidal stream. Whatever. So you have, broadly marine, there is wave energy, so you can put a device on the surface of the water, or just under the surface of the water that moves with the waves.
Right.
You've got waves translating, and you've got waves moving up and down. There are devices that convert that movement into electricity. Yeah. Which is fantastic. Yeah. But again, waves connected with wind. Yeah. So same problem with wind power.
Some some days you get bigger,
Yeah,
some days you get a bit lower. Yeah.
storms and that kind of thing, whatever. So
Yeah.
it's still variable. The other version of marine energy is tidal.
Mm.
Okay, tides is essentially, well, it's gravitational potential energy.
Yeah.
That's the moon moving around the Earth.
Yeah.
And pulling the water with it.
Mm.
And that is very predictable.
Yes.
Very predictable, and it doesn't change. There's
Yeah.
nothing that we're going to do, or that the weather is going to do,
Right.
to change the tides. Okay. If the tides change, we've got bigger problems.
Right. Reusable energy is least of our worries, kind of thing.
Yes.
Yes.
So you can predict tidal movement. And so if you can put a device in, like for example, something like a wind turbine in the water.
Yeah.
That takes energy out of the
Yeah.
tidal movements.
Yeah.
Then you have a reliable energy source. Of course, the problems now are that if it's underwater, usually quite deep underwater, you have to maintain this thing. You have to be able to service it.
That's true.
It's quite difficult. It has to be, and we've learned various things. It has to be resistant to things like, say, sand flying through. It has to not kill wildlife.
That's true.
It has to be able to resist salt damage, like water damage, and then salt water damage.
And Cthulhu's.
And what? Cthulhu's.
Yeah. Well, I guess there's only one Cthulhu,
right? Yeah. Krakens. Yeah. So whatever, it has to be able to stand its environment. So those are the challenges. And actually, as part of this project, I managed to speak to the CEO of Nova Energy.
Yeah, hell yeah, you did.
Yeah. So, for anyone listening, Nova Energy is just an electricity generator in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So the CEO, they're owned by a larger company called Todd Energy.
Okay.
Which is mostly actually, I think, well, certainly more active in non-renewables.
Okay.
I think broadly gas, but I can't be sure on that one.
Yes.
Yes, and the reason why I was talking with the CEO was because Todd Energy bought another company called Crest Energy, which was involved in this tidal stream energy harvesting business in New Zealand, say 10 to 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes. So the CEO asked him about his sort of opinion on the technology. Now I thought it was more an economic issue. That this thing doesn't exist. If there's a renewable energy that's reliable, predictable, why the hell have it? Yeah. And I thought it was an economic problem, which it still will be. Yeah. But the CEO at least claims, take him on his word, the technology is still not proven. Yeah. He knew of one company that was operating out of Nova Scotia, in Scotland, that was close. And they do seem to be have a look, seem to be close, if not operating. But yeah, so it's still not there. It seems to be the whole raft of problems, including technology not quite being proven. Yeah, and the economic issues in New Zealand, and there are lots more things that we learned about this problem space in New Zealand. Why? Where are we? Why was I here?
We're talking about kind of the motivation of why you joined the summer entrepreneurship course, and
that's right. Well, I was name dropping energy.
Yeah. I think it's a good interesting kind of sidetrack though. Yes. Yeah. Because you learned a lot from that, right? Because you had to interview arguably kind of the biggest names, or the most relevant people in the energy sector in New Zealand, right?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say our research was completely exhaustive, but so definitely got to start. Yeah. So Yeah, so I spent a lot of time talking just now about what we were doing in our group. We were trying to find a different renewable energy resource. The other solution potentially to this problem is that rather than trying to find a reliable resource, you just need to create a reliable storage system, a battery.
Yeah.
And what Energy Bank is doing is they are taking big concrete blocks, large blocks of mass on the surface of the ocean, and they drop it to the bottom of the ocean.
Right.
And in that drop, there is a transfer from gravitational potential energy into kinetic, which they presumably would use to spin some kind of turbine and generate some electricity. And great, cool, so I can power my house for however long. And now I've got a concrete block at the bottom of the sea. So, okay, good. Now that's where you have your
gym bros.
Lift
them up, right? It's part of their workout, right?
You create many jobs.
Yeah, exactly. Create many jobs, they get buffer. Yeah.
Small enough to be able to.
Yeah.
So your solar power.
Yeah.
When it's sunny, your wind power when it's windy, your hydro or your wave power. Okay, whatever it is, you use that generate electricity that you can harvest at the time, to slowly somehow pump or lift this concrete block back up to the surface. Okay, so you convert this whatever it is energy into kinetic energy, which moves the block back to the top, ready like a battery to be dropped again when required.
Right.
Yeah, so just big gravitational potential energy batteries.
Does it cancel out the energy generated to lift that up?
Well, I mean, when you say cancel out,
kind of like.
So energy is not created nor destroyed; it's just conserved.
Or as in like because you drop it and it generates energy, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Or it converts the kinetic energy into.
It converts the gravitational into kinetic heat and
Yeah.
something.
And now you have to lift it back up at some point, right?
Yep.
And when you lift that back up, you are kind of converting some sort of energy into the kinetic energy of lifting it up, right? Is that right?
Yeah. So let's say solar power. So solar power is the sun's hitting.
I see what you mean.
Panels make.
I get you. Yeah.
Electricity is powering either a pulley system, let's say, or a pump or something like that.
True.
Okay, and again, there will be losses to heat and sound. But some of it will be able to go into pushing it up.
Interesting.
Again, so Energy Bank, this is a startup that has come out of Summerland.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool idea.
It's a pretty decent idea. So they probably, I don't know. I think Tim is the name of the founder. So it's very possible that Tim was looking at the exact same problem space that our group was. We were like, oh well, New Zealand has to turn to coal when we don't have renewables available.
Right.
And so that's not a good thing. We would prefer that not be the case. And so, we went through this chain of reasoning. We were like, okay, that's the problem space. How can we address it? Well, we can solve it by finding some new renewable energy source. Tim was like, okay, well, we need a battery. And I don't know what Tim knows about batteries, but maybe he thought, oh, I actually don't know much about conventional chemical batteries, but I sure do know a lot of physics.
Yeah.
And hence the idea. And I don't know how far through, I guess, because this doesn't exist yet. I actually recently saw a LinkedIn post that they had something recently happen. But watch the space. It might very well be a thing. The fun thing about this idea was that it's like I instantly got it. I think you pretty much got the concept from now. But you can just do some back of the envelope math to figure out how many of these concrete blocks you would need, and how I think there was on their website they say how big these things would be, so it'll give you the size of the volume of the density, and then you can figure out mass, and then how many of these things you will need if all of New Zealand's energy
Yeah.
just went bust and you only had these concrete blocks left,
Yeah.
how many would you need to power New Zealand for a day?
Yeah.
And you can work it out. And I can't remember what the number is,
Yeah.
but the point is that you can do it. You can actually say, well, if we have these many of these things and they're this efficient, this is how much it's going to be, this is how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
And you can actually like build a business model out of this thing, which is quite fun. I think it's definitely, if I recall, it's not a save all, not a save all solution to New Zealand's energy demands.
Yeah.
You couldn't ensure the entire sector in New Zealand because you would need thousands upon thousands.
Yeah, that was my guess. Yeah,
of square kilometers of these things.
Yeah.
But
it'll be a site though.
Yeah, it's
still pretty cool.
I mean, the ocean is big.
Yeah.
But you could. I don't know.
Yeah. But maintaining that though.
Oh god.
Yeah, seaweed.
Yeah.
Some seaweed.
Yeah, and they were talking about like two different sort of levels of battery, like 4 kilometer and 8 kilometer depths. Like 8 kilometers of, I mean, presumably you have to have some kind of structure to keep this thing falling down.
Yeah.
Vertically, which means either a hole in the middle or pipes around the outside. Like the amount of maintenance involved.
Yeah.
It's just because it works in the back of the envelope.
Yeah.
There are so many problems, and this is one of the things that I'm detoring off here now, but this is one of the things that the workshop was on about. Is like you will encounter problems all the time. You're constantly having to solve problems.
Yeah.
As this idea is really a bit of that's the case.
Well, one of my questions was kind of what would be your dream job after your master's? Would you mind working for these companies like these? Because you're quite passionate about this, and it's like physics related, right? Would you mind that?
Well, I suppose let's clarify the question a little bit more. Would I mind working for someone else?
Yeah, I guess would you mind working for maybe physics related that kind of has an overlap with your passion? Like maybe climate change being one of it.
Sure.
Compared to, and that means not having like aerospace related job. Yeah, although your master's in aerospace engineering. Yeah. Would you mind that?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting question. So I've already mentioned like that there are jobs that could be considered aerospace adjacent.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not directly hands on a rocket or
right.
planning an orbit trajectory or something like that, but maybe I'm helping design a part that's going to become part of a satellite or something. Or maybe it's ground services for example. But I mean, I think in terms of this might be a bigger question than I thought. So one of the problems that I experienced in the Navy, in the military, was the lack of decision-making ability.
Okay. You mean from the higher ups?
Well, I mean, it's no surprise to anyone that as the lowest rank in the Navy, you have absolutely no say on things.
Right. I see.
Well, yes, small enough to say, but if anyone else has anything to say about what you're doing, you're probably looking to listen to them. And I got pretty sick of that.
Yeah.
Which people who know me are not surprised about. I had a few people say to me, "Yeah, I don't know why you took that job in the first place." You. And this is one of my core values now.
Yeah.
Is self-awareness.
Okay.
I've identified. I am now aware.
Okay.
That self-awareness is one of the things that I value quite highly, and I guess in joining the Navy, I didn't have much self-awareness about the things that I valued.
Right.
And yeah, so I would like some level of decision making ability and power.
Yeah.
In whatever role I'm doing. I would like to have more certainly like to feel like I'm sort of making the world a better place using skills that I'm interested in. So these sort of scientific engineering type skills. I think I wouldn't say it's my favorite area, this renewable energy space, but it's very interesting.
Yeah.
It combines a lot of sort of areas of knowledge. Even just the stuff that we did within the 4-week workshop,
100%.
like it was quite invigorating, and I could definitely see myself keeping myself busy, doing it, trying to figure out these problems. And I think that's probably more where it is that it's not necessarily the subject matter. It's more the problem solving that's kind of gets me going.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Again, I say self-awareness, but it's a process, not a flip. I'd be happy for a time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Doing anything steady, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I imagine there would be a time horizon on that. Yeah, sure. An amount that I could stomach. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Not sure.
So, given your kind of current impression and knowledge, kind of the aerospace engineering would be your kind of final goal kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, this is still an active area of thinking. So, what is the long-term kind of career goal?
Yeah.
I suppose. What do I want to make out of my career, my working life? Do I want to? I forget his name, unfortunately. Chief scientist of the James Webb Space Telescope mission. I think his name is Bill.
Okay.
But I'm thinking Bill Maher, and that's not that's a comedian. Yeah, I should remember his name. But there's this chap who works, I think, chief scientist of the James Webb Space Telescope mission, and he's very technically skilled. In fact, I believe he's got a Nobel Prize.
Okay.
But he's not sort of hands-on, nitty-gritty kind of technical details stuff. He knows very broadly about, and maybe even somewhat specifically about all the stuff that's on that machine.
Yeah.
But he's sort of got a hand in here, a hand in there, a hand over there. And just knows a bit about everything, and is able to, and is in a position where he's communicating the science message to the other stakeholders internal to the project. And I looked at that. I mean, we were talking about role models before. That's probably actually a good example. So that guy holds a role that I think would actually I probably would really enjoy. Yeah, it's like I get to be exposed and kind of involved with all these different things, and kind of having to handle all these things and saying, that's that. Well, I guess I don't know really what power he holds in that role, and what level he has to dictate things things XYZ to happen. But it seems like a very interesting space to occupy, where you get to kind of experience all these cool things. I guess below you, chief scientists, so all the sciences sort of happening amongst your subordinates, I guess. And then you're having to communicate with people who aren't necessarily scientists about the value of the thing that your team is doing. So, and I don't know if I've really described his role really that well. or incorrectly, but like something like that.
Yeah.
Like as a kind of a long-term start would be very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I don't know if there's really a fixed pathway that takes a person from where they are to there.
Yeah.
But that would be one thing that would be cool, sort of long-term.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that answers the question that you asked.
I think it does. At least you have like kind of a. I think it sounds like you want to do something with space.
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah,
would
that's
be correct?
That's what I'm in for. I think if I had the option between something that did and didn't, I'd probably pick one that did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like say working on a rocket. It at least it could be like working on developing like the next best telescope, for example.
Yeah, I suppose that's right. Yeah, so rockets, launches, things that transport stuff from the surface of the Earth to orbit, around the Earth or elsewhere.
Yeah,
that's is one area. So the payload, the thing that you're sending up there, is another area.
Yeah.
Okay. The guidance, navigation, and control, which is the area that I'm probably most qualified for at this point in time, is another thing, and it's maybe the kind of area that I'm targeting. But this, again, active area of thought. Recognizing that I'm coming from outside of engineering and don't have as much hands-on experience as what other people at my sort of career level have. I don't expect that I will be technically the best at any one task. I'm a bit older. My brain might be a bit slower because I'm a bit older. I might have less energy because I'm a bit older. I feel like I'm doing a master's, but technical mastery isn't. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
This is because it's the active area of thought. I'm not sure if I should be aiming for technical mastery as a kind of a career goal. And I'm aware that career, kind of a developing career over time, people get better at a broader range of things, and then sort of combine all those skills together to then be able to, I guess, to move up the career ladder and manage the people doing all those things, and so on and so forth. So this is another motivator for the whole innovation entrepreneurship thing. Is you don't have to be the best. You could be someone that finds the best.
Yes.
And convinces them that your idea is one worth doing. So learning how to come up with ideas. What problems do organizations have?
I think, speaking of coming up with ideas, you came up with something, right? I mentioned briefly before about the app.
The app.
Yeah. We don't have to get into the details for obvious reasons, but how's that going?
How's it going? The app. Okay. Well, so again, summer lab. The idea could be any entrepreneurial thing. It's something that you create that you could market, that you could sell, that someone would be willing to pay money for.
Yeah.
And this whole entrepreneurial mindset thing talks about people will only pay for things that will solve problems for them.
Sure.
Meet some need, and usually that's a problem. Maybe sometimes it's a want, like a leisure activity, but often it's a problem. you purchased these beverages
Mm.
and you brought them here, one could theorize that maybe the problem that you were solving with this is that maybe there's a bit of nerves.
That's true.
There's a lot of talking.
That's true.
What is there something that solves both? This loosens up the body, loosens up the mind a little bit.
That's true.
While also sort of keeping you hydrated.
Yeah.
Maybe. And perhaps a tasty cider by Summersby is the solution to your problem. And this is, again ties in with the agile course that I'm doing. Just about everything around you at some point was created. Like very nearly everything that we interact with daily was created at some point. I'm holding a TV remote control right now. What problem is this solving?
So solving like you having to kind of get up from your couch and then go to your TV and press in to change the channel.
I think that's the basis of it. Before the button was on the television, you had to
I remember that.
we had one of those at home as well. You had to walk up and press the button. In fact, with the TV that we had, you had to press a button to get the remote to come out of the TV. That the remote was stored in a little pouch in the TV.
Right.
So that's what the remote control does. Every one of these buttons solves a problem. Well, the volume one. The TV's not loud enough. The TV's too loud. The volume. So solving problems. And so I encountered. So after having done the summer lab, I encountered a problem in my day-to-day life. Yes. Well, not so much day to day, but I encountered a problem for sure during my day.
Yeah.
And I tried to find a solution to this problem by just Google search. Hey, right, my problem was information. Surely, we live in the era of information.
Like, if you think of a problem, it's probably been thought by someone else, kind of thing.
The world's humanity's combined knowledge is available on the internet. I type in a click away. Surely you can find this information online. And to the Google, I can find change the search terms, have a search again, can't find anything. That's really quite strange. And then I broadens the scope. So, does my query was about something relatively specific? I'll just broaden it a bit, see if I can find the same information about a different area. Still nothing. What the heck? What's going on? And I eventually did find actually one app which addressed this problem. But it was only in New York. Okay. And it didn't seem like that good an app. What didn't see? Number of downloads, the user interface didn't seem to be that great. And so this app was also experiencing some problems as well. So this was actually great because here was an example of this thing that was, here's an example of an app that is going to give the information that I want if I was in New York. And it had all these problems. And so I was able to sort of look at this and think, okay, how would I change this in order to make it work? And the idea, in terms of material progress since I last spoke to you about this, which was 4 weeks ago, maybe?
3-4 weeks ago.
Not much. However, that is going to change in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Because the Agile and Lean Project Management course that I'm doing specifically has an assignment about create a product that you believe people will that you'll be able to monetize. And there's some various tasks about the assignment. And so, funnily enough, the work that I've done, like a vision statement for this product and like who I think customers are going to be. Various other aspects that I just kind of did on an evening because I was interested to see like, is this kind of viable? It's actually very, very applicable to this assignment.
Yeah.
So yes, all right.
Hell
So,
yeah.
so I'm just going to use the same idea because I certainly believe that it applies. There's just a bit more extra work to do with it in terms of interviewing potential customers. So actually, I was actually hoping to interview you, Pascal,
really?
somewhat around this. Yeah, I have a Google form
Okay.
that I need to. Yeah, I'll send you.
Yeah, sure.
But I might need to pad it out a bit more because depending on the assignment. But to our listeners at home, that's a conversation for afterwards. So more progress will be made on the kind of planning of that. So in this class, we've been assigned groups and or teams, and once we've submitted that assignment, the teams will then bring all the individual works together, and the teams will decide which idea has the most merit.
Right.
Now, if my idea has the most merit, which I don't know, then our team might pursue it, and we'll probably spend about 3 to 4 weeks developing the idea and probably actually making a prototype.
Damn.
So if that happens, then progress made. If not, then there won't be for the time being. The last semester of our masters makes for a busy boy. So,
yes.
Well, it'll be worked on if it can be connected with this classwork.
Yeah.
Which would be very convenient, but otherwise, maybe for after that.
Cool.
Yeah.
They can't stop you there.
You need to go there.
I was gonna say you can probably guess why. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I will join you this time.
Yeah, because we've been going on our podcast for like 2 hours 25 minutes. So we can wrap this up soon. So we have time to kind of get there. Because we gotta swing by my car too. Just to drop off some things.
Right.
That's Panel Rise.
Oh,
so kind of on the way kind of thing. Yeah, but we gotta walk there and then kind of walk up to the main kind of thing. So
I imagine because I think Jenny will be at the apartment. And I don't imagine she'll want to walk the main, despite the fact that for us it's like, but I don't think she'll want to walk there. So we can probably drive from here to Parnell. You can drop the stuff, and then we can park somewhere. We'll probably park somewhere.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, nearby.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Yeah. Then maybe we can go for a little bit. Maybe we can we touched briefly on well, first of all, we are back from
hello.
It was a nice pee.
It really was actually.
Was it good?
There's a full shower in that toilet.
Yes. It's a woman's toilet, by the way.
Yeah,
but there's no one.
I did see that. Yeah. I didn't say anything. But,
yeah.
Full shower.
There's a full shower, and every floor too.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't used any of the showers here.
Yeah.
Because on our floor, so our floor is on the 3rd floor.
Okay.
And
we're on the what floor now?
4th floor.
Okay.
And for some reason our floor doesn't get hot water, so it'll be full on Wim Hof, Wim Hof kind of shower.
Yeah.
But that's probably a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
So you're saying there might be some development for your app. So what are your thoughts on your app? Like, do you kind of see it as like in the best case scenario, it's kind of your side hustle, maybe extra income, but it will never be your full time, or if it goes well, you don't mind being it full time kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. So the let me think about this. Just to say a little bit from the question before. The idea will, if it is chosen by our team in this class, will definitely be progressed upon. If not, I am still planning to put through this idea to the velocity challenge that the CAE group runs. yeah, so at the very least, that work we put forward to it, done towards it. It's not so much. I don't think there's too much more involved compared to what I've already done for it. But it is getting at least some kind of outside feedback
Yeah.
on the idea.
So what's for myself too actually, what's the velocity challenge?
So the Centre for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, the same group that did the Summer Lab workshop that I participated in, it runs this velocity challenge, and this is essentially, well, actually, what do they? Oh, the program's called Velocity. I'm not sure. I may have misnamed it. They run two things.
Right.
There's a semester one thing and a semester two thing. Start of the year, end of the year. And the start of the year one is write 1,000 words about your product idea.
Right.
And if they think it's good, then you win some amount of money that is supposed to be, well, it can be spent on anything, but I would be using it on further developing the idea.
Yeah.
Probably. So that's I think I can't remember what they call it, 1,000-word challenge.
Right.
Yeah, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
It's just a way to sort of get ideas to paper and then to get feedback on said ideas. Yeah. So that work will be done. I looked at this competition from afar for many years as a student and thought, man, that seems like a pretty good thing.
Yeah.
So I'm finally going to do it.
That's cool.
Yes, it only took me 7.5 years at university.
Long time coming, eh?
Yeah. So the app. So if this app gets developed, all right. So, and I say gets developed because I don't have the skills currently to be able to develop an app. I barely know how one might do that.
Yeah.
I have been in contact with a company that specifically does app development, and they said lowball, it will cost $15,000 to develop this app.
15,000?
Yeah. Okay. So that I mean, this is something that I could put in the pitch. Like, look, this is how much it's going to cost for someone to develop it. Which, I mean, as a student, for sure, I have that kind of expendable money. So, like that would require some kind of investment or whatever. And there are different ways. There are various ways of selling this kind of idea. But yeah, so the app development aside, so let's say the app gets to some level of functionality.
Yes.
The minimum viable product.
Yeah. Love that expression.
Or maybe the minimum market product. Right? The app is not related to aerospace, the thing that I'm studying and the sort of intended career trajectory that I have for myself. So in that regard, I wouldn't be pursuing it full time.
Okay.
It would be very much kind of side gig territory. I wouldn't be doing it out of pleasure, I guess. Like I'd be learning things, but I'm not doing it because I enjoy it. I'm doing it because I think I would be doing it because I think this is actually a useful thing for people.
Yeah.
And because I think that I'd be able to monetize it.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay? Right. I don't specifically believe any activity that one should be doing should eventually be monetized. Okay. As for example, as a musician, I have and do monetize my musical skills, and it's something I like doing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I advise that for everyone who can play an instrument. Yeah. Sometimes things are just for enjoyment.
For sure.
Okay. This app idea would not be for enjoyment. This would be.
Sorry, Dave.
This
Just your bit. Yeah. Audience don't get to see that.
Yes.
That's for the.
Did I actually touch your foot like with my hand
earlier? No, I don't think so. Oh, you're scaring me out now.
Well, maybe it's my knee. So this app idea would not be prejudice. Would be because I think it's useful and because I think it can be monetized. I want it to be designed in such a way so that it doesn't require or it requires as little human input as possible,
Right.
Human continued maintenance as possible, right? I don't want to have to be fielding like customer service calls, which could be a possibility with because of the nature of it. It requires it does require people to interact with it, and there is a reviewing kind of mechanic to it. So it requires people to leave opinions, and people's opinions can cause controversy. And so, I want to avoid having to in-person address that as much as possible. As soon as the idea requires employees, then that's another cost that's a massive cost. I know from Jenny, my fiance, who is an accountant, who the listener of the podcast now knows as a person.
And potential next guest, right?
Potential.
I'm trying.
I know that labor costs are massive, massive percentage of sort of overall costs for a business running. So wanting to avoid that as much as possible. How to do that? Again, this is a thing to sort of future to discover whether that's designed in such a way so that it doesn't require that kind of thing, or minimize it as much as possible. So if it becomes, again, the market for this idea, the problem that this app would be solving is going to decide how successful or not the idea is. How much of a need is it? Okay. I think there is a need. Or there's definitely a want for the information. Maybe that's a need. This would come out of market research, like asking people their opinions on certain things. If it got to the point where it required full-time attention, and I happened to not be working at the time, so if it was, if it's generating an income, and does require full-time attention, maybe I could spend some time on it just to sort of grow a bit more and push these things. If it gets much bigger than that, I would probably want to have an exit strategy planned. And pass it off to whomever might be interested in checking it out.
Cool.
Okay, and it kind of depends on the size, and this is kind of, I guess, would be where a business plan comes in. It's like, I think there are definite stages for operation of this idea. If I give an example and say Zomato.
Like a restaurant review app kind of thing. Right?
Yeah, so Zomato was restaurant reviews, or at least I knew it as restaurant reviews. Jenny would say, like, let's look up such and such a place on Zomato.
Right.
Zomato has everything.
Rotten Zomato.
Rotten Zomato. Yeah. That was where you went for reviews on restaurants.
Yeah.
Like Google has reviews, but Zomato specifically has restaurant reviews.
Yes.
Zomato was TripAdvisor for restaurants.
Okay.
Specifically.
Yeah.
And at a certain point in time, Zomato started offering discounts from places.
Okay.
Where did that come from? Well, I believe that's because Zomato got big enough and influential enough to be able to say, look, your business, your restaurant business, is on our website with good reviews or not so favorable reviews. And we know, this is the traffic that's going through our website looking at your page in particular. Are you seeing this much traffic through your restaurant as we're seeing on our website? Do you want, can we come up with some kind of business arrangement where you advertise some kind of discount through, us, whatever it is? So they leverage their influence to get some kind of business deal going. someone buys a voucher or whatever through Zomato, and Zomato gets a fee from said restaurant or whatever it is. And so there's kind of like, well, through a 2-minute analysis of Zomato's business model and my limited experience, they had at least 2 stages of operation. One was host reviews and maybe pay for the hosting by advertising.
Okay.
The second mode then became, okay, well, now we can start, well, I mean, I almost want to say blackmail, right?
Yeah.
And this is a dangerous territory in some ways, because if you're hosting negative reviews in a place, and you say, look, we're advertising your place, you have really bad reviews. Maybe we can come to some kind of arrangement. Like
otherwise we'll push the negative reviews up the list or something.
It could be wielded with with not very much responsibility.
That's true.
But so framed one way blackmail, framed another way, just leveraging your influence. And so this these are the sort of things that could be considering. But what was it? The point was they had 2 different modes, and so in the same way, I think that my app idea, this problem in solving, would have to have different stages of operation. It needs to build stage 1 up to a point, and then stage 1 can be leveraged for. There's at least one future stage that I thought of. This will be fleshed out, I guess, at least in the essay write-up that I'm going to do to this competition, and maybe in this group thing.
That's good stuff, D. We gotta go and get to somewhere real quick in a bit, but before that, let's finish up with some quick fire questions. Just I've got 11 questions here, and just super short answers. Straightforward question. Yes, not really yes or no, but straightforward question, and then one answer, boom, to the next one. And then we can finish this up. Are you ready?
Okay.
Are you nervous?
Yes, I don't know what to expect.
You're nervous.
I'm nervous in the sense that I'm going to overthink these questions.
Don't overthink it, dude. Don't overthink it. Okay. You can only listen to one album for the rest of your life. Which album is it? And which Jacob Collier album is it?
Which album?
Which album is it?
I don't know enough albums to play. Shit, I don't know. Some kind of classical orchestral album.
Okay.
Like long tunes, lots of detail.
Right.
There'll always be something to recognize.
Different experience every time you listen to it, kind of thing. Yeah. You can only listen to one artist for the rest of your life. Who is it? And why is it Jacob Collier?
Well, I mean, I'd say, you know what? It probably is Jacob Collier.
Would it be Jacob Collier?
Yeah, I mean, for the sake of answering the question quickly, I think so. Yeah, he's young. He's got lots of he's got a good career foundation. He will be creating music for a long time.
I need to have him on this podcast.
What?
Jacob Collier.
You need to have a shit. Yeah, we can do that.
You join me, will you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Favorite Pokemon.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna say Raichu.
Right. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, no, so you mentioned in the bio at the start.
Yeah.
Pokemon Master.
Yes, sir.
And you didn't actually press that topic.
No.
But that's, you've missed your opportunity.
Well, I think, like when I was planning this podcast, I was kind of anticipating another episode to come out of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but because even Jacob Collier, there's a big part of our relationship, and anyways, Raichu. Favorite Pokeball.
Pokeball.
Yes, sir.
Oh. I can use any criteria. right?
Any criteria?
Yeah.
Is there different criteria?
So sorry, the question is favorite Pokeball.
Oh, like Pokeball, like when Master Ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Is there different criteria?
Oh no,
Alright.
it's like like how many choose the blue one.
The blue one.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what that's called?
Great ball.
Great Ball or something. Yeah. Cool. Who's the like a one underrated artist? Like people should be listening and
Underrated.
yeah, and we're not like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you have one that's in your mind?
Well, I mean, I suppose to what degree is underrated actually underrated? I mean,
Yeah.
and in some ways you could say Jacob Collier is
That's
underrated.
true.
You could say,
That's a
but
good shout.
he has won a free Grammy, so he has got some
That
kind
is
of
also
industry
true. Yeah.
recognition. So it's
That is also
underrated.
true. Yeah.
The public knows him. Like, there's another dude that I met that like he brought up Jacob Collier. I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's getting some really good spread.
Yeah.
So maybe Jacob Collier isn't underrated anymore.
True.
Next came to mind was Lewis Cole.
Lewis Cole, yeah, fair enough.
Like he's like really good. He's coming through stuff.
Mm.
His fan base though is quite very strong.
Very strong.
People who like him really like him.
Yes.
So
Fanatics.
is that underrated? But I'm gonna
maybe I would say so. Yeah.
But I'll take the opportunity. I'm gonna shout out Jacob Mann.
Jacob Mann. Oh yeah.
Jacob Mann
With the plan.
Oh yeah.
Favorite MCU superhero or villain?
Ah.
And also, okay, you say it first, and then I'm gonna bring up something that grinds my gears.
Okay, right. So for context,
Yes.
listeners, Pascal did ask me this question. Top 6, I think, or top 5 MCU heroes or villains, or whatever it was. And I had to think about this for a while. So it's a good thing that you asked me this ahead of time, because I've had some time to sort of ponder it. Now, on that list.
By the way, he's an MCU fanboy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I'm not particularly proud of it, but I know.
It's out.
On that list, I know we had Jonah Jameson.
Yeah. That's another discussion.
We had Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man.
Yes.
Or Peter Parker, I should say. And I had Grandmaster on there.
Yeah.
I quite liked Namor.
Okay.
And that leads to one that I listed first.
Yes. Scott Lang.
Scott Lang. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So that was the sort of the short list.
Yes.
Favorite?
Yeah, favorite. I mean, it has to be Scott Lang, right?
I think I put him first.
Yeah. Ant-Man.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Specifically Scott Lang. Yeah. Yeah.
So what grinds my gears is I don't know if you can say, what's that, Jameson?
Jonah
Jameson.
Yeah.
He's not a villain. You know what I mean?
He is an antagonist to Peter Parker. Well, to Spider-Man. And to Peter Parker, actually.
He may be an antagonist, but he's not a super villain. Can you say that?
Well, he's not a super villain. He doesn't have
a superpower, right?
He doesn't have some extra human abilities.
Yeah.
He's just he's in the Tobey Maguire version of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Okay.
He is Peter Parker's like boss.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
And doesn't treat him that well.
No.
A bit manipulative, let's say. And then as for Peter Parker as Spider-Man, he is putting out negative press.
Yeah.
Seems to call not true.
Yeah.
It's a very heavy spin.
Yeah.
And
biased news.
So absolutely antagonist.
Yeah.
I don't think that's I don't think we can argue, but
true.
Yeah, not a super villain for sure.
Yeah.
But I believe the original question was characters, was it not? Or am I incorrect?
I will have to go back and look. That's true.
Okay.
That is true. I think I might have said characters. You're right.
If it's characters, he's up there because that's a fantastic character.
Yes.
Especially the portrayal.
You've been learning Chinese, right?
I have.
Do you have a favorite word?
Ooh. Well, learning Chinese, still very much beginner. Apparently, my vocabulary is 700 words or something now, which is pretty sizable.
Not too bad.
Surprised.
Not too bad.
So yeah, I've been able to now drop a few words in that I kind of know to Chinese speakers, and they kind of went, oh, okay, that's impressive. So I think yo yun, something,
Okay.
something, like so that's cool, that's something. I've tried to kind of inject them now into little places in my life. So, Xiao or something like that. I forgot. Banana.
Banana.
Someone will treat me. I'll shake my head later when I realise it wasn't.
Cool.
But just like things like that. And I've asked Jenny, who is Chinese,
Yes.
if she can just start using words that I know, maybe even don't know, just kind of everyday things.
Yeah.
Just to kind of try to get them more into my head.
For sure.
Practical level. Yeah.
Favorite YouTube channel?
Favorite YouTube channel? Which YouTube channel do I keep on going back to? Well, I mean, like I've been subscribed to SciShow.
SciShow.
For a long time.
Okay.
For a long time.
Is it about science kind of things?
Yeah. The main host originally was Hank Green.
Okay.
A bit of a YouTube personality. There's more hosts now, but I by a certain metric, I'd probably say SciShow. OG.
Do you have a favorite Simpsons episode?
Oh my god.
Don't make me choose.
Well, there's the common idea about the golden era of the Simpsons.
Yeah.
Sure, it would be from there. I think I particularly enjoyed any of the episodes that have musical numbers in them.
Oh, okay.
It ties in quite well with my interests, but
Yeah.
those ones tend to be funny. In fact, I'm pretty sure that I don't know which one it will be, but it will be one that had Conan O'Brien as a writer. I think every episode that he's been involved in is one of the films.
Right.
Yeah, interesting.
Do you have a favorite quote from The Simpsons?
There's so many. I quote The Simpsons so often, and it's become so second nature that I forget that The Simpsons quotes. Oh man. In this house, we obey the laws of thermodynamics.
Who said that?
It's Homer.
It's Homer.
It's Homer.
What did he say? What was the context?
The context was Lisa had built a perpetual motion machine, and but she was exhibiting very unhealthy kind of life behaviours, often sleeplessness and that kind of thing. And so Marge was showing concern, and Homer decided just to sort of go bad cop on the situation, and hence the quote.
Nice.
Yes.
Last question, D. What's the best song ever? Like lyrics wise, chords wise, melody wise, everything combined, right? And the instruments and the way it's been played, the way it's recorded. What's the best song ever?
Oh, Jesus. How could you possibly include this quick fire question? Let's
Come on, it's either you answer it really quick or you never answer it. It's one of those two things, right?
The best song ever.
Best song ever.
Pachelbel's Canon.
What's that?
Pachelbel's Canon.
By who?
Pachelbel.
Pachelbel. Oh, Pachelbel.
Canon and D. I think that's the best song ever.
Right.
It's not my favorite song ever, probably, but I think it's probably the best song ever. Why? Because it's been referenced over and over.
Right.
That chord progression.
Yeah.
Will outlive everybody.
Do I know this song?
Yes.
Canon. I feel
Yes,
like
you do.
It's a classical piece. Or
yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard you play it, but I think you recognize
it.
Yeah. You recognize it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Really? That's the one. That's the best song.
Yeah.
In terms of, I think, longevity.
Right.
It features a chord progression that is recognizable.
Okay.
And it's going to stand the test of time. It's got melodic fragments that people recognize.
Yeah.
Recognize that
instantly.
I didn't know that you would recognize that bit, but you knew what it was. It's got a bass line that is recognizable. Okay. This and it's used again and again.
Yeah.
And one could argue that the chord progression doesn't make the song.
Okay.
But that's the song that chord progression is associated with.
Right.
Because like if you play that chord progression, people say, oh, that's the same as Packard's Cannon.
Really? Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't matter what in it. There are probably pop songs that are more famous now.
Yeah.
Than Packard's Cannon.
Sure.
That you could say, oh, that is pop song X.
Yeah.
But everyone says Packard's Cannon.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know Packard's Cannon, you know the chord progression. You'll recognize it. Oh, this sounds similar. People lose their minds when two songs match up over quite well.
Yeah.
And people don't necessarily know Packard's Cannon, but they really love it when they recognize that two songs go over each other. So I'm going to say it. I'm going to double down, go down and say it. I'm going to say everyone likes Packard's Cannon.
Do you know how to play it? Like at least the bass line or?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do?
Yeah.
Cool.
And the bass line is monotonous. Simple. Monotonous. Like crazy. So like there isn't even a bass line actually. It's a cello part.
Okay.
The double bass would double the cello part.
Right.
And knock it down. Yeah.
Cool. That's the end of the quickfire questions. And
end of the podcast.
Yes, sir. End of the podcast. And how long have you been going for?
I'm a little bit disappointed now, actually. I'm having fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's good fun. I mean, I was definitely having fun with you on the podcast, and that's why I invited you.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I think we've demonstrated today that I can talk endlessly. So.
And interesting too. I
mean,
yeah. I mean, I was engaged, and I mean, I had a great time, D.
Excellent. Well, I had a great time too.
Cool.
Let's go have a great time at Auckland Cultural Spark Festival.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah.
We gotta get to the next place. So 7:54.
Nice.
Let's get out of here. Cool. Thank you, D.
Cool. Thank you, Pascal.
Cool. See you.
Goodbye.
Love you.
Goodbye.